Welcome to the Home Builder Digital Marketing Podcast. Over 90% of today's home buyers start their buyer journey online. Here we talk with not only industry experts, but also your fellow home builder marketers to learn how you can succeed in our incredibly competitive digital world. And now, here are your hosts, Greg Bray and Kevin Weitzel.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of the Home Builder Digital Marketing Podcast. I'm Greg Bray with Blue Tangerine.
And I'm Kevin Weitzel with Outhouse.
And we are excited today to have joining us Terrell Turner. Terrell is the Chief OSC at Caruso Homes. Welcome, Terrell. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. This is awesome.
Well, Terrell, let's start off and just get to know you a little bit better. Give us a quick background about yourself.
Absolutely. So again, my name is Terrell. I'm based out of Charlotte, North Carolina, the Queen City. Love my city. It's growing leaps and bounds with new home construction. I've been in the online sales arena for about 10 years now. I'm married with 8-year-old twins who keep me busy when I'm not on the phone. Life is very, very busy, but great.
All right, so that's a little bit about the personal side. Let's go even a little deeper on the personal side before we take a deep dive into work-related stuff. Nothing with the family, nothing with work, nothing with the home building industry. Tell our listeners something interesting about yourself that they'll learn about on our podcast today.
Okay, they probably do not know that I was this voice of Charlotte 49er athletics. So basketball, football, I was the guy in the arena going, file on number 45, Joby Thomas, his first third team foul. That was me for about a good 8 years.
That's awesome. I did radio puking for one day, Terrell. I did for one day. You know, the radio puking for the listeners that when you see the ads that go, Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. I did that for one day. I blasted out my vocal cords for a day. And when I got my paycheck after they removed the Radio Announcers Guild and all the other fees that come out of there, I didn't get paid squat, and I wrecked my voice. And I realized that that wasn't for me.
I can relate to that. I didn't lose my voice, but the commute to do the games and the subsequent paid charges didn't equate to it being worthwhile. But I had a blast. It was amazing.
Now, do you utilize any of those skills when you're on with your potential home buyers? You're like, oh, and today I've got a special for you.
I tell you what comes into play sometimes, being able to think on the fly, because there are some changes when you're dealing with a customer and a lead. So we had changed and rewrite scripts on the fly in the arena. So sometimes that comes into play.
Wait a minute, Terrell, you've got twins? Oh my goodness, the 3-bedroom, 2-bath is not going to cut it for you. You're going to need a 4-bedroom, 3-bath.
You know, you're giving me an idea. I may try this. I actually may try this on a call and see where it goes. This is giving me a good idea. I'm not afraid to try it. I will do it.
All right. Greg usually has to put up with me doing this at the beginning whenever I get something fun that I like to talk about. So I'm going to relinquish the crazy pill and turn it into the Home Builder Digital Marketing Podcast in 3, 2, 1. Greg, take it, please.
Oh, I don't know how to follow that. Terrell, who was that for again that you were doing the announcing?
Charlotte 49ers. So I went to school there. And so I started with volleyball and then went into men's basketball, soccer, and then did some football when we got the team.
Now, all those little off-side color commentator things, how much of those are pre-prepped before the game to just like a big list of things you can talk about? And how much of those are just spur of the moment things that you have to come up with?
I'd say 90% is definitely scripted. And then there's a 10% will be a rewrite of a sponsor read, or some game got changed because something didn't happen. The mascot delayed or something, and we got to just come off the cup and just wing it off the top. So yeah, that happened.
Talking about on the fly, Greg, I'm going, because I did some team announcing for our women's roller derby league, professional women's roller derby league. We're talking about, you know, some of them are paid and stuff. I'm going to give you my claim to fame single line that makes people blush, and it was amazing. And this was 100% on the fly. In roller derby, women are slamming into each other, and occasionally they make a big old face plant and tumble. And I said over a loudspeaker to thousands of people in attendance, folks, you just witnessed a 30-mile-an-hour mammogram. And I'll tell you what, it got chuckles out of me for the rest of the night. Whether or not people got the joke or not, I laughed about it literally the rest of the night.
Classic. I love it.
All right. Online sales counselor, home building, Caruso Homes, North Carolina. Where are we at?
Terrell, tell us a little bit about Caruso Homes, where you guys build, who you're trying to work with as your customer base.
Yeah, thanks so much. So Caruso Homes is a home builder that's been building homes for about 35 years, based out of the Baltimore, Crofton, Maryland area. So we have that division. We do a lot of production, but a bulk of what we do is actually on your lot. So helping customers build their dream home on private land is really what we're known for in that Maryland area. So we've crossed over into Pennsylvania, Delaware, and now our newest divisions are Raleigh, North Carolina, and Charlotte, where I am. And so we've got a lot of on your lot opportunities and then a little bit of production. And we service clients anywhere from the first time home buyer with townhomes all the way up into $1 million homes, semi-custom. So there's a great range of product and opportunity for our clients that we can service and provide options for.
So how did you get into the home building industry and more specifically decide you wanted to be, in this online sales role?
Now that is an answer. The Cliff Note version is about 10, 11 years ago. I have a background in production. And so my best friend called me up and he's like, hey, what are you doing right now? I was like, nothing doing right now. And he says, we just did a Super Bowl commercial for my home builder and we're getting a bunch of calls. Do you mind like coming in and reading a script and helping us out with answering some voicemails? I'm like, yeah, okay, no problem. Had no idea I was being set up. And that's the best kind of setup when you don't know. So I go in and they say, hey, here's the script. Read this off. If anyone answers or calls you back, you simply say, that's a great question. I don't know. You can get that answer when you come visit a model. When are you available? I'm not making this up. So that's how I get in. So they handed me a headset. I start making phone calls. Then people to answer. How much the fireplace? I really don't know. That's a great question that my on-site advisor can go through. Are you available to come out tomorrow? And I started setting appointments. It was supposed to be for 1 week. It turned to 2 weeks, then 3 weeks. And they were like, hey, we're going to go to a lunch with the VP of sales. They want to meet you. I had no idea I'm being interviewed. Just dumb, no clue. Went to lunch. Week 4, it's the company meeting. I'm at the company meeting. They're like, is Terrell Turner here? Yeah, I'm here. Everybody, this is our brand new online sales counselor. And that's literally how it happened. And they all chuckled and laughed and let me know, hey, we've been trying to find a good fit. They're very big on culture and they wanted someone. And so that's how I got into home building. I love the online sales part because at that point, I didn't know a lot about construction. So it helped me really learn the industry and really get my feet wet. I've had the opportunity to go on site sales, but my kids were born. That gave me flexibility to really be with them. What a great place to be where you're starting with the buyer journey, introducing them to the company and setting them up for success that they're going to go through as they build their home with the company.
Well, it's also no slough that you get to work with industry rock stars like Tom Baldwin, Melissa Call, Christy Beck. They're all industry known, pretty much rock stars.
So when I met Chrissy for the first time, I'm like, yeah, I'll work for her. Just an amazing person who lets me do what I do, gives me the freedom to succeed and how I do it best. So that's been great.
Now, Kevin, while we're talking about rock stars, we need to give Terrell his due kudos. He did win the Gold Award as OSC of the Year this year at the Nationals.
At the Nationals.
At the Nationals.
We've been at the Nationals too, Terrell, and we're proud of it. A silver, baby. Boom.
Love it. That's awesome.
You had a field that was chock full of just tons and tons of people. So there are lots of entries, lots of nominations. So to hold that gold above your head, it's a big feat.
Thank you so much. I won't say I never imagined it. I did imagine it. But again, it was especially this year being so tough. There's a lot of great OSCs out there. Truly humbled to be able to have that and hopefully continue in the success that I've been able to maintain.
So Terrell, you started out simply by saying, I don't know how much that is or what the answer to that is. Let me make an appointment. How much has that changed now that you are at the top of your game here?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you can't do that nowadays, right? So that was 10 years ago. The online sales arena was just starting, not just starting, but really kind of getting traction. And so, yeah, nowadays it's not just, I don't know, can you come out? You really want to establish trust and establish that you are an expert in your field. So that person feels confident and comfortable talking with you and you set them up for success when you hand that off to your on-site advisor.
So somebody calls or messages on the website. What's that first thing you do to try and create that trust? How do you try to connect with those buyers?
Yeah, it really depends on who that buyer is. And I think that's what makes a good OSC is learning who you are talking to or how they are talking and then create trust based on the questions they're asking. So they're asking me about the area that I want to be an expert in. Well, great. That community is 5 minutes from the grocery store or it's right next to the highway, hospitals, having the knowledge about what's around the area that creates trust immediately. If they're asking about product, knowing my product, again, not giving them too much to not give them a reason to come out, but being able to answer that question with confidence that lets them know, hey, I know what I'm talking about. You can trust me. I'm your guide through this process, because they're searching on Zillow and realtor.com. They've got all kind of builders. Sometimes they don't remember what they signed up for. And so reminding them, hey, this is Terrell. I'm with Caruso Homes. You asked about this particular floor plan at this particular location. Oh, yeah. And it creates that trust that I am a knowledgeable expert.
How soon are you asking for that on-site appointment in that whole process? Are you waiting a little bit longer than you did a while back to build some of that trust, or is it still kind of that primary goal in that first conversation?
I think the goal of every conversation is to secure that appointment. And so depending on, again, how deep we get, you got to earn trust before you ask it. We're kind of dating. That's not the first question you ask now. So if they're asking about, well, how much is this fireplace? I see this picture online. Well, great question. I'm going to ask some qualifying questions. Is the fireplace important to you? Is the living room, what would you use that fireplace for? Do you have a fireplace now? Try to find the pain points of what they are looking for. Okay, great. Well, look, I think based upon what you've told me, we are a good option, because we're going to get more than the fireplace, and letting them know we are a good match. My community offers this. You told me this, we have this. You told me this, we have this, and give them options. Now let's connect with my on-site expert who can go a little bit deeper into those questions about pricing, about time frame. They know more about that, and then getting them there. Yes, every conversation, you want to be asking for an appointment. If you don't secure it, what's the next step?
Now, let me ask you this. How often do you get to take your personal take on your products? Like the fact that you have twins. Let's say the subject came up. They're like, oh, we're moving in. We've got our twins. You can be like, wow, I've got twins too. Are they going to be sharing a room, or are they going to have their own rooms? Are those the kind of conversations that come up on a regular basis?
Absolutely. I want to create that rapport and say, hey, I don't want to ask any questions that are prohibited by the federal,
Right.
fair housing. But my personality, how I am, like you, Kevin, you gave me energy, I'm going to give energy back. I want to match their energy, match their tone, and let them know, hey, you know what, if they're calling from New York, hey, my mom's from New York. What part of New York are you in? Calling about Charlotte. Well, I'm born and raised in Charlotte. Ask me questions about not just the homes, but about the area. I'm born here. I know the area well. Let me know how I can help you. I'll definitely throw in the twins and get a laugh. Again, get them comfortable. I want to provide an experience that's better than my competition, right? So they're calling me about Caruso. I got to be better than anyone else on the phone. I got one shot to get them out. I might not get a second shot. I might not get a third shot. So I've got to be memorable so they remember that guy, he really helped me. He made me laugh. Yeah, I'm going to text him back.
Absolutely. So there's the personable side of the equation, but what about the objections? How often are you fielding objections, and how long did it take for you to feel comfortable answering and basically loading your own artillery gun with those responses to negate those objections?
Oh man, that's a great question, Kevin. It is something that I practice almost every day, is objections. When I first started, I used to get crushed by objections. I was afraid of realtors. They would tear me to pieces because they want all the information right then and there. And they would take it and run, and I would just get canned. And so I really started saying, what is destroying me on these calls? And I would write down those questions, and I would script it and practice it. The objections we're getting now is, of course, interest rates. The objections now is, well, I'm just going to wait till after the election. So now it's finding out, because that's not the issue. What is the real issue? Practicing objections. I love objection training. I can't get enough of it because I want to get better on the phone and not get crushed. That's the worst thing, is when you hang up the phone, it's like, oh, they just tore me to pieces. But it's great learning to continue to get better in your craft.
So Terrell, when you started, you mentioned that they introduced you as, here is our OSC, as in like the one. Today, builders are much more into the department level of OSCs and more than one. How do you help other OSCs kind of learn from your experience as you expand into this kind of team role, as opposed to just being the one who has to do it all?
Yeah, I've really seen that journey where it went from one, my first builder was one, to when I left was 8. We had 5 full-time, 3 part-time. Like, what is that? So really scaling a department. When you're one by yourself, you might be managing multiple roles. You might be doing for some builders I've known, the design center. You might be doing website management, doing some marketing. As you grow and scale, your responsibilities start narrowing down to really focus on that online buyer's journey. So it's really helping fellow OSCs understand, here is what an OSC is supposed to do. Can you do website stuff? Yeah, but is it maximizing your time? Not really. You're really focused on turning inquiries into leads and then getting those leads out to the model that best fit your company's offerings and gives that on-site rep the best chance to write a sale.
Have you been experiencing more and more, Terrell, kind of a loop effect where after you've made that appointment and they go and visit on site, that they end up talking to you again later because they come back maybe to the website to learn more and things like that? It's not linear, is it? Where you made the appointment, I never talked to them again, right? Because now on site's got them and they're going to take care of it. What's been your experience?
It really goes both ways. You mentioned it's fluid, it's not linear. And it really requires understanding and trust by on-site and online, especially after the first appointment. We're going to follow up and say, hey, how was your experience today? How did it go? Did you like the model? Did you like what you saw? What's your next step? Have any questions, right? And then we're going to point them back to the on-site, but they're probably going to reach out. They know Terrell. I know their dog. I know their cat. I know their grandma, right? So they feel comfortable telling me stuff that they might not have told the rep. But I'm going to share that information with my on-site so now they have even more ammunition to hopefully close that lead. So it is definitely a fluid back and forth sharing of this lead together so we reach the end, which hopefully, again, is the contract. That's the ultimate goal. And on-site and online have to be in sync and in unity to get that across.
All right, so communication with your on-site sales team. Are you using sticky notes, A, B, scribbles on a pad, or C, a CRM? And if a CRM, what CRM are you using?
CRM, 100%. Right now, I'm new to the CRM. I'm new to Caruso. It's HubSpot. I was using Lasso for many, many years. And so every CRM has its pros and cons, but definitely no scribble notes, no post-it notes. Yes, CRM, take good notes so that your on-site knows, and on-site, if you're listening, read the notes. That's why they're there, so that when you go into your appointment, hey, we took a whole list of stuff that might be helpful for you to know before that appointment.
Now you said that, Terrell, as if it might not always happen.
The word on the street is that salespeople aren't really good with details. Hopefully there are tools there to make our jobs easier. Salespeople are really good at what they do. I have so much respect for them. They are the backbone of our companies and they have a really hard job. So our goal as OSCs is to set them up for success and then make their lives easier. So going to the CRM, having those notes or going to those meetings before just makes you even more prepared so that you feel comfortable meeting that prospect. So that first appointment is not a first appointment, it's like a be back.
So Terrell, you mentioned providing a better experience than your competitors.
Yeah.
Do you ever mystery shop your competitor? Did you ever call them up? Well, I mean, we don't have to say who they are.
I wish we had video instead of just audio because Terrell just gave the look. You betcha.
Yes, I do shop my competitors. Yes. And so I'm looking at, are they giving too much information out? Are they giving any information out? Do they answer the phone? What's that follow-up look like? Did they give me an email? Did they send me an email? So yes, I'm definitely trying to see what's happening in my specific submarkets so that I know what my customers are also getting and be able to match that, or if not, beat it.
All right, Terrell, you said something extremely interesting.
Yeah.
You said too much information. Are they giving too much information? So in a world of Amazon, where you literally punch anything and everything you want, and they give you all the specs and who's got it, how many different people have it, pricing from, highest to lowest, et cetera, what is too much information? Or is it just that it's so overwhelming? What is that called, Greg? Paralysis by analysis because you give them too much? Is that what the too much information is?
I think it's both, Kevin. It can just be a data dump. And again, as I mentioned earlier, they're searching online, this house, that house, this popped up, realtors sending them stuff. It's information overload, and it can really be very, very overwhelming. And that's one of my points in my first email. Hey, I know searching online is overwhelming and it's frustrating. Talk to me. I'm going to make it very, very easy and simple. I'm going to simplify this for you. And then too much information is, okay, here's a little nugget. People are trying to eliminate you. They don't want to come out to the model. So for someone to get in their car, face traffic in 2024 and come into your model is a huge deal. So we don't want to disqualify them from coming out and seeing what we have to offer. Because when a person meets a salesperson, magic happens. All of a sudden, they can afford it. All of a sudden, their budget changes because they love that model. Or, you know what, it looked to be too far away on the map, but when they drove out, you know what, actually isn't that bad. And so things always change what they told you on the phone. So we got to get them in front of the sales expert because things just magically happen when they come together.
Now, talking about shopping the competition, let me ask you this.
Yes.
Because I know for a fact that Caruso uses fantastic and probably the industry's best interactive floor plans. But because they use those, knowing that your competitors, a lot of them are hillbillies and are still using static floor plans, still using craptastic renderings,
Yeah.
how often do you send a link to one of your floor plans to one of your potential buyers?
100 times a day, all day long.
Oh, that's the answer. We don't have to edit, Greg. We can go straight through it. I was scared to death that he was going to say, what is this? What is this you're talking about? He didn't. He said hundreds of times a day.
Yes.
Oh, Terrell.
All the time. That's one of the things that differentiates us. So this customer now can play around with their options, add the sunroom, add the morning room, add the fireplace, whatever they want. Build your dream house. And guess what? They can save it. I get notified, so I will reach out again and say, hey, I saw, well, I don't want to be like snoozing, creeping on them, but hey, it looks like you had some questions about the Lexington floor plan. You built one. You want to talk to my on-site rep who price out those options for you? Yeah, absolutely. So all the time I'm using it as a tool to get them connected to one of my sales people.
I love the idea of using the website assets, not just before they talk to you, but as part of that nurturing process, pushing them back to the website and back to the website again. And that requires you to have a website that you trust and a website that you're proud of and not embarrassed to show. I've talked 100%. To builders like, oh, we would never send somebody to our website. That would embarrass us. And I'm like, well, okay, well, maybe we should fix that problem,
100%. Yeah, that's your main tool. I'm on it all day. And so we're constantly communicating, making sure our information is correct. We want to make sure our incentives are correct. The inventory is correct. If there's something that's not for sale, we've taken that off. We want to have accurate information because we're using that as our tool. And of course, our buyers are using it as their tool to get information to decide, do we want to look at Caruso? Because the website is the digital billboard. They're making their decision. They seem reputable. They seem like somebody we want to do business with. Let's find out. And then, so I've got to match what the website says. So my professionalism, my energy, my trust has to match the website so that it seems legit. And okay, this seems like somebody we want to do business with.
Can I have you grade yourself? If you were going to give yourself an A to an F, typical elementary school type grades.
Yep.
For your knowledge of your product, to where if I was a customer and I came to you and I said, hey, I'm interested in the Lexington plan.
Yep.
However, based on the fact that I got a big dog and I've got, 8 kids and a live-in maid, whatever, because Alice lives it with me because it's a blended family, yada, yada. You get the gist. I'm Brady Bunch. Do you know your product well enough at this stage in the game to where you could pivot and say, here's 3 other options that better suit you?
Yep. I'm getting there with Caruso because I'm still fairly new, but absolutely I know my product where you can say, actually, I know you were looking at this, but based on what you told me, I want to suggest this, and here's why. You mentioned having mom and dad might be coming in. The Lexington's a great place because it's not only is the primary suite down, it also comes with that in-law suite standard. You don't have to make any options or changes to that home plan, right? So, and I'm like, oh, okay, then I didn't think about that. And again, that's product knowledge, that's trust. I've got your best interest in heart. Well, how much is that? Great question. Cheryl is great with that. She'll have that option for you. You want to talk to her tomorrow at 3? What are you doing today? Not pushing it out. What are you doing today? Can you do a quick call? And let's say it's 2:30 now. Let's see. Let me pull my calendar up here. It looks like she's in an appointment right now. It looks like she wrote a contract this morning. Can you talk to her at 4:30? How's that sound? Creating urgency and getting them set.
That's fascinating that you would push for a same-day appointment. I don't know that I hear a lot of people being that aggressive. Aggressive, not in a bad way, but that urgent same-day appointment. Does it work?
For me, it does, right? And it's something that even coming to Caruso was new to them, right? Same-day appointment. We have to strike while the iron is hot. You do not want to stop or slow down the sales process because I don't get them. Guess who's going to get them? Somebody else will. It's not 2021, 2022. Those days are gone. So we have to strike while the iron is hot and get these leads into the opportunity to close deals. because they'll be like, you know what, actually, I am. And if they say no, then they'll give me the alternative. I don't do the whole, when are you available? Oh, I don't know. Let me check with my husband. Let me check with my wife. Let me see. Grandma's coming in town. Nope. Here are your options. Can you come up today at 4? No, I can't do today at 4, but I can do tomorrow at 4. Great. Thanks so much. Let's do it.
So Terrell, for those builders who are maybe not as advanced in their online sales programs, some are still, believe it or not, don't even have an OSC or don't have one that knows what's going on. And that still shocks me in today's world. But what kind of tips would you give to a builder who's trying to get that program started, or maybe who's struggling a little bit to get it to perform the way they want to?
Yeah, online sales is so beautiful. It's amazing when the machine runs. 60%, 65, 70, 75% of your sales can come through your online sales program. So it is worth investing in. It is worth setting up. It is worth doing it the right way so that you get the results. And if we're not getting the results, say we are underperforming, is that due to unrealistic goals? Did we set the goal too high? So it's kind of evaluating that. Are we performing at industry benchmarks? Are we getting 25% of our appointments into sales and contracts? If not, okay, we need to look at some other things. Are we supporting our OSCs? Do they need some tools? Do they need training? But really understanding that supporting my online sales team, if my face is on your website, if we are the voice and the sound of the company, supporting mental health because we're on the phones all day dealing with robocalls and complaints and warranties. We're not just receptionists, but we really are trying to turn these inquiries. And I say inquiry because everyone who puts in that form isn't a lead. They may have saw something on Facebook and that's a beautiful kitchen, boom, and you find out they might be a renter or shopper. And so it's really weeding through all that noise and finding ready, willing, and able buyers. So it's really having conversations from leadership and on-site staff and figuring out how can we support you? How can we get to 60%? How can we get to 65%? And I've been a part of those teams that grew from 15 to 45%. It can be done. So it's just really coming together and working together.
How do you consider people that you want to have join your team? What are some of those skills, and especially soft skills, of a potential OSC hire that is the most important? Because there's some things you can teach and there's some things that they kind of need to have. What are some of those need to haves that you can't teach?
Love it. Great question. There's two different personalities. There's the on-site. So on-site are much, much different than online. Online, you want to have that nurturing. So I would say responsiveness. One of the first things you want to do and see is email them. Do they email you back? How long did it take them to email you? Did they call you back? Ghost them a little bit. Are they persistent? Because you have to be self-motivated to be a great online salesperson.
Is that part of the interview process? You ghost them a little bit and see if they come back and really want the job?
That's what I would do if I was, hiring an OSC. I would ghost them and see, how bad do you want it? When I interviewed for Caruso, I sent Christy a video email. Hey, thanks so much. And I went into it, right? Because this is going to be part of my process. So you want to see, what do they do? How good are they? Are they good on the phone? You got to be friendly on the phone, have a good sounding voice, because again, you got to compel people and get all this information, build trust, Kevin, 15 seconds, 25, 30 seconds to really let somebody know, okay, I want to stay on the phone a little bit longer. So I would check that out, Greg. I was able to be successful the past 4 years, 100% remote. So being able to be self-managed is something that's really, really key. You have to be self-motivated. They have to be able to take rejection, because you're going to get no. You're going to get hung up on. You're going to get voicemails. So can you get up in the morning or in the middle of the day? Can I be motivated to go make 10 more phone calls? Or if I didn't get my appointment goal for today, can I make one more call to get that appointment? That's what it takes to be a really good OSC. So I would look at those things.
Those are some great, interesting thoughts about ghosting people and then rejecting them to see if they really want the job and can deal with the rejection or not. Isn't that what he said, Kevin? He's going to reject them, see if they can deal with it.
Well, he said you have to be able to handle rejection. Now that they're just going to call him and say, you know what, Carl, you sucked. I didn't like anything about your interview. You were horrible. And then, by the way, call me in a week. I'm probably not even going to pick up the phone, but let's just see where it goes from there. I don't think he quite said that, but very close to it. I loved it.
Take your time. Again, see, how do they respond back? Do they email you back? How long does it take? Did it take all day? Did they email you back within an hour, 30 minutes? Because you can't do that with the lead. First of the lead wins, especially Zillow. So you got to be on it.
Terrell, we appreciate the time you spent with us today. This has been some great insights and it's been a fun conversation. As we wrap up, any last words of advice to those OSCs out there that are looking to become Gold Award winners themselves someday?
Carry a Sam home. Come on. Oh,
I would just say two things. If you think the leads are crap, you'll treat the leads like crap. So don't always think the leads are crap. Go into it. Every single lead, you have to put on a performance. This is my next appointment. And when you're getting no and no and no, you're getting closer to the yes. So when you're banging out phone calls or you're banging out emails and no one has responded, just know all that activity will pay off. And you want to, again, work harder than your competition, because I guarantee you your competition isn't doing what you're doing. Especially make it personal, not just automated. Automation has its place, yes. And there are those tools for automation. But put some personal things out there to differentiate yourself from everything else that's cluttered in their inbox, and you'll get some results.
Awesome advice. Well, Terrell, for somebody who wants to reach out and get in touch, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
I am on the little LinkedIn space. So it is LinkedIn at the Terrell Turner or at the Terrell Turner, and you can reach me there.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Terrell, for sharing with us today. And thank you, everybody, for listening to the Home Builder Digital Marketing Podcast. I'm Greg Bray with Blue Tangerine.
and I'm Kevin White's with Outhouse. Thank you.
Thank you for listening. To learn more about how Blue Tangerine and Outhouse can help you generate more qualified home buyer leads, visit bluetangerine.com and outhouse.net. If you've enjoyed our show today, please tell a friend, leave us a review, and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Be sure to join us again on the Home Builder Digital Marketing Podcast.